Hello, this video will cover Blackboard Items. We'll focus primarily on the functions of the content editor, but we'll also discuss some of the benefits of using an item type over other functions in Blackboard. Blackboard Items can be placed in content areas, and content areas are often called assignments, lessons, or modules in your menu links. We've named ours content, and you can tell you're in a content area because you have the build content, assessments, tools, and partner content menus. To create an item, start with the build content menu. You'll notice you have several different functions here. Item is the first, followed by audio, image, web length, and etc. The benefits of choosing an item is that you can accomplish a lot of the same functionality in these other individual functions in an item. So it's a great sort of generic, open-ended type of function to use for multiple different kinds of content. So we're going to go ahead and click Item. We have to give the item a name. Below we have our content editor, and again, if you see only one line of tools, click the double down arrow on the far right to expand the toolbar, and that will give you some of the more advanced functions, including the mashups for YouTube videos, SlideShare presentations, or Flickr photos, and a lot of the functions that you find commonly in other word processing softwares like Microsoft Word. So we'll go ahead and we'll add our content here. Okay, so here we have used several of the different editing capabilities in the context editor. We've added bold text and bullet points, a table for assignments, and then a YouTube mashup video for reference materials below. And you can use any of these tools and functions in a way that best suits your course. We'll have more detailed videos on the content editor elsewhere, but these are just an example of some of the functions that you can use. And these item types can be used to deliver information to students. They can't be used for receiving file uploads from students such as assignments do, and we'll cover those in another video, but you can deliver content to students using the item. Now that we have our content in our content editor box, if we scroll down to number 2, we see attachments, and we can browse our computer and select a file that we want students to reference. Maybe it's a list of the questions, essay questions that we want them to answer and submit in a later assignment. Maybe it's an article, just any sort of information that belongs with the content that you're delivering to your students. You can attach a file here. Under number 3, you have your options for the access for students. You can track the number of views, so that just tells you how many students, so you can see how many students have actually come into the content area and brought this on their screen. It doesn't really determine whether they read it or paid attention to it, but it does tell you, that it's been accessed by the students. And then you can turn the view of the content off for students. I don't recommend that. I recommend setting that always to the default of yes. Then if there's a specific window of time that you want students to see this material, you can do so here with the date and time restrictions. It's much more effective if you set this to no and you set the date and time for the specific time that you want students to have access. Then whenever this window of time comes up, they will not see it if that's set to no. So just go ahead and leave that to yes and limit the display here. Otherwise you can leave those unselected and the content will always be available to students. Once you've made your date settings as you want them, then click submit. And we can see here's our content. It has that subject that we gave it initially, and then here's our list of bullet points and our table with our checklist for assignments, and then our reference material below. The content item is very useful. You can use it to deliver content to your students, and it can perform a lot of the functions that some of the singular functions in the build content menu do, but it can do so with additional information. So there are a lot of benefits to using the item function over some of the other functions that are available.